Hello, friends. Today I have a very interesting guest, Mr. Romit Barat, the Executive Director of AAFM, American Academy of Financial Management India. Mr. Romit Barat, he's a professional trainer, having trained more than 14,000 professionals in the NISM modules as prescribed by SEBI, whether it is on the portfolio management, whether it is on alternate investments, whether it is on Gift City, whether it is on SIF, you name it, he has it. And he has trained many professionals across various companies, which includes Axis Mutual Fund, Axis Bank, Sundaram Alternates, SBI Funds, NJ Wealth, DBS Bank, HSBC Bank, White Oak Capital, Asset Management, Motilal Oswal AMC, ASK Investment Managers, and others. And he's been instrumental in training many distributors, including me. And I am very happy to welcome Mr. Romit Bharat once again in our show.
Thank you so much, Venkat sir. It is always a great pleasure to be here, and every time I come, I also learn equally. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Sir, your forte is more on the PMS and AF. So I will be framing questions in that parlance. I just wanted to ask you on the wide range of alternate investment options available, and why a investor who has got a good amount of net worth in mutual funds should consider alternate investment funds.
Thank you, Venkat sir. I think one of the major reasons that I think alternate should be very carefully and very obviously be part of any distributor's portfolio is for two major reasons. One of the reason is as the keeps creating wealth, his needs and priority also changes. Now we should agree that by this time now, with the kind of knowledge and education that all of us have spent towards educating the society and community, mutual fund has become an household product. So just only focusing mutual funds may not suffice the overall asset allocation or maybe overall requirements of a client's investment requirement. So from a requirement basis, this is the first priority, that as a distributor, what are you offering to your clients other than mutual funds? Because everybody around you, everybody around us is somewhere selling mutual funds or advising mutual funds. So, as a part of asset allocation, as a part of larger requirement from the client, it is important. Now, the second point is as the clients keeps creating wealth, the journey of a client is very much like a journey of a human being. So, when a child is born, he is mentored, he is guided, he is taken care of by his parents. But as soon as he keeps growing, there are other people who come to his life. In the same way, for an investor also, as he keeps creating wealth, the requirement of other product also comes in. One of the very important thing that you need to keep here is that in the first phase of an investor's journey is a wealth creation. The second part of the journey is wealth creation and risk management. And the third part of the journey is wealth creation, risk management, and capital management. And that is where alternate comes in, because in alternates you get a wide range of products which you do not get in mutual funds. Like you get an exposure to invest into angel funds, private startups, private equity, private credit, hedge funds, which basically completes the bucket according to the asset allocation. So it is not a requirement, it is a necessity. So just like you move in your life cycle, in the investor's life cycle also, you create wealth, then you manage risk, and manage risk can only happen due to asset allocation, and alternates plays a very important role in the asset allocation.
Perfectly said. In fact, if you look at US thing, there the percentage of unlisted or alternate investments are slightly on the higher side compared to the listed side in the growth markets. And sir,
Yes.
yeah, and SEBI has also made a new change in the startup investment in the regulated space, where only accredited investors can invest in startup from October 2026. There is a new circular which
Right.
has come. So many of the investors who wants to participate in a regulated startup but don't know where to invest, and there are good amount of startup investment opportunities available in our spectrum, where even an investor who is not accredited also can invest till the time frame of September 2026. Could you please throw some options on this, sir?
Okay, so I would rather answer these questions in two parts, Venkat sir. One
Yeah,
is, why should one investor consider startups?
correct.
And if they are considering a startups, what are the factors they should see? And I'll touch upon a bit on the regulations. Now, the first thing that one investor should always consider, that every large company where you invest was once a startup, be it
Yeah,
ITC, be it Infosys, be it Wipro, be it any company which you think is a great company to invest. So startup is not something new. There is a new name which has been given, which has been jargonized, but every good company had started somewhere, and that's why the startup comes in. So investing in startups is not something new or unknown to us. Correct. That's number one. Number two, one of the major reasons where I had realized, and that is where people, investors has to be very clear, and that is the place where people like you are playing a very important role, is always we see that there is a lot of talks and discussions around the public listed space. There are a lot of investment framework, there are a lot of investment ideologies around listed frameworks, and when it comes to private investing, we think that there is no framework, but there are more and better framework also available in private investing, and we will discuss this once we move along. So private investing or startups investing is perceived as a risk, which is not the case. Probably it is more transparent than a public listed, because when you invest in a public listed companies, there are a lot of information which is considered to be taken. So we try to overcome them. But when it comes to private investing, we analyze each of these data very, very systematically and in a very, very detailed. So as an investor, it is a great opportunity for distribute. As an investor, it is a great opportunity for them to consider this space, because the amount of upside that is available are unimaginable.
yeah,
Now coming to the regulations, yes, regulations is very dynamic in India. Obviously, it has to be, because India is a growing country, and when you are a growing country, you have to have restrictions as you grow. So SEBI has put in a regulations that post 2026 October, you cannot have an accredited investor. You cannot have any investor investing in startups without an accredited investor, which means that every investor who invests into startups or angel investing has to be an accredited investor. So there is a definition of accredited investor which has already been defined. So we have a time till today, till 2026 September, where your investors can invest into this kind of great startups. And when we talk about startups, Venkat sir, there are a lot of definition of startups. There are a lot of opportunities in startup. Some companies they put into pure startups. Some companies they put it into startups which are in earnings mode. So we will discuss more about that. But it's a great opportunity. The investors have a time till 2026 September to invest into some of the best funds that invest into startups, and the opportunity is limitless.
correct. And you have very well put across the need for investing in startup. And the government has, from COVID time, they have opened up many sectors, whether it is on space tech, whether it is on deep tech like robotics, AI, and other things. And when it is opened up for private sector, it is only the startup which has taken the giant frog steps in launching those rockets and other things. So, can you throw light on the startup ecosystem and how this niche ideas can create huge value when we are also transitioning from a 4 trillion economy to 5 trillion to 7 trillion in the times to come?
Because sir, I have been investing into startups very long, and I am one of those beneficiaries who has seen the best side of startups.
Super.
Let me give you three examples where I had invested. So there is a company which has been originated from the laboratory in IIT Bombay. They are making microorganisms which eats malaria and dengue larvae. Now, imagine the kind of effect it can create on the community. So these are lab-grown organisms which eats malaria and dengue larva, whatever you can. So they are basically planning to eradicate the entire malaria and dengue from the world.
Oh,
Already they have got 150 crores of funding, and if they have got orders from some of the countries in South Africa where there is a lot of effect of malaria and dengue, and if goes well, the entire world is a market because malaria and dengue is a great, is a big problem for the society. That's one startup. There is another startups. So globally, there are around 14,000 plus satellites that roams around the Earth's orbit. Now, this is very less compared to what we need now. And these are typically mid-range to large-range satellites, and most of these satellites are owned by US companies like
yeah.
Tesla, like sorry, like
SpaceX and others. Yeah.
SpaceX and Google and Amazon's and Microsoft. Now, this is an Indian company based out of Bangalore. They are building micro satellites for corporates. So let's say, for example, let's say you are a business owner and you have got offices in 6 cities in India, and you want to have your own private connectivity. So you drive the entire communication through your personalized satellites. Can you imagine the scope that is going? And these are these are satellites which are very small satellites which are kept in an orbit. So your company can hire those satellites and it can connect with all your 6 offices, and you would work like as if you're working in the same offices altogether at the same time. There is no data friction which happens.
Wow.
That's a that's the kind of activity which is happening.
Nice.
Now this is a second startup. There is a third startup which is into which is basically creating a complete ecosystem of electric vehicle charging. So the problem today with electric vehicles is we do not have charging.
Plus
Now
points. Yeah.
this yes, so this company is trying to put in 10,000 service stations across the zones. In South Zone 10,000, in North Zone 10,000, in this zone. Now these zones are basically charging zones where you have lot of other services available, because typically a charging of a SUV or a MUV takes between 15 to 20 minutes. So what
Agree.
do you do during these 20 minutes? You go to the washroom, either you read newspaper, you want to have coffees,
Yeah.
you want to read medicine. So they are creating a franchises. It's like a core satellite where the core is the charging and you've got satellites like offering services, and they are going to spread across the country because you cannot avoid green energy, and electric driven cars are the main product of green energy. So these are 3 different startups working in 3 different fields. Correct. This is the opportunity that you get when you're investing into startup. Now,
Yeah.
this not only gives us a sense of ownership, but it also gives us a sense of pride. When you own a company which is driving to eradicate malaria and dengue from the world, and these are medical scientists, it is not some technocrats building this, microorganisms which eats malaria and dengue larva. They are medical scientists with the technology support. They are creating this. I think the impact these startups would create to the world is unimaginable. And as an investor, it not only gives me a sense of ownership, but also gives me a sense of pride. And I think that's where medtech, edutech, fintech, space tech, these are different areas where I think there's a lot of opportunities which is coming. And with 25 lakhs rupees investment, what more can I get?
Yeah. Correct. That's
What
only
else
possible
do
in category one in the loan. Yeah.
so what else do I expect with an investment of 25 lakhs to invest into this kind of startups? So
Correct.
I think the fun, the ownerships, the pride that is associated with startup investing is unimaginable. And I would encourage every investor to do this. The world has changed. The regulations is very, very strict and transparent. So the probability of losing money is almost zero.
Correct. Exactly. Very well put across. And as you rightly pointed out, there are some wonderful companies which are listed in the category one angel fund. Could you please throw some options on what are all the companies which are operating in this, and how investors
See,
can benefit out of it?
typically, Venkat sir, any kind of an angel funds is very well defined. There are certain angel funds who invest into core sectors, core engineering sectors, like they avoid technology driven companies because what they believe is the economy runs on core manufacturing and other sectors. So, and there are angel funds which is absolutely working on the tech part. Now, typically, I prefer those angel funds which invest into tech parts because investing into engineering or manufacturing requires lot of money
Capital.
because when you
Yeah.
set up a large factory,
It's all capital
it,
intensive. Yeah.
it's a very capital intensive structure. But when you invest into a tech, you invest into a lot of startups. Now, coming to tech, if you see, there are various categories of tech which is happening today. The first and the foremost tech which is happening is a fintech.
Yeah.
There's a lot of, and today we have seen that how the entire technology stacks around UPI has changed the entire financial transactions, right? So there are a lot of models which is being built around the financial transaction system. So fintechs is a great place to be in. The next is edutech. Now Indians are always known to be educated people, right?
Yeah.
You all the great universities globally, their professors, their students, they are all Indians. And there is a lot of opportunity that needs to be done on the education space. You cannot reach 100 million people into any other mode than technology. And the variations in the educations are many because the world is changing, it is becoming more and more open, transparent. So I think the next sector is edutech. The third sector, which it is my favorite, is the medtech or health tech,
Healthcare.
because
Yeah.
as life is becoming more and more complex and busy, people are coming out with a lot of health issues and they need medical attentions, right? We have seen that how smartwatch can keep track of your heartbeat, your oxygen level. That's level one. Level two, on the medtech, there are a lot of sub classifications under medtech. I think the third segment is the medtech, which is, to my belief, it's the biggest, which will emerge as the biggest. And the fourth segment for me, which I believe, which is going to be very, very important, but there are a lot of other segments where you can put money, is the space tech.
Yeah.
And I think space tech, there is less exploration which has happened on the space tech. We have always been on the earth. There's a lot of things to be done on the air. And I think, the way you have seen Tesla has built SpaceX, the way they provide seamless communication across the world in places where you through their Starlink satellites. That's just a glimpse. I think the space tech is somewhere the next 20 years there will be a lot of activity which is going to happen. So if you just to conclude, one is a fintech, one is edutech, one is health tech or medtech, and one is a space tech. So these are the four broad areas where I think there is a huge opportunity to make money,
Yeah,
and
and
there will be a
also
lot of money which is making money.
it's also on the defense tech also, because there is a lot of funding from the government also in those projects.
Yes. So interestingly, I was talking to one of the VC fund where they were funding, although I would not want to disclose, they are working with Indian Army on the defense tech,
Yeah.
and they are building micro nano drones which cannot be seen through eyes and it cannot be seen through even through any surveillance system. They are smaller than the pinhead, and
Wow.
these are called nano drones. So even if those drones are around you, Venkat sir, you will not be able to identify, and they can send you a high resolution picture. They captures sound and everything. So
Wonderful.
I think defense is one area, but my only, I think, the way I look at it, defense is very regulated and it is very confidential. So, although there would be a lot of opportunity, there would be less public participation options available.
Okay.
Because the
Okay.
moment you allow public, you cannot restrict who is your investor. So, there would be a lot of anti-Indian element who might come as an investor in disguise through any proxy. So I think defense is something which will be very restrictive and selective. But for a normal investor like us, those four broad categories are something which is very, very interesting.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful. It was a very comprehensive summary on the various options available. Could you please tell me what are all the companies which are currently taking subscription category one angel fund? Because most of the companies which I dealt with have closed their subscription because they have done the final close.
Okay. So there are three categories where the funds is investing currently. Obviously, one of the areas where they are investing is the fintech space. As I said, because fintech is very, very fast emerging, and that is where I think the next evolution is going to come. The second segment, which they are also investing in FMCG and other consumable items, because at the end of the day, we have these huge populations which which has to be consumed, which is an investor, which is a consumer. So the second area is on the FMCG space because there are a lot of concept which is coming today which needs money and these are life changing concept. Let me take you an example. This fund that we are talking about, next gen fund, they were originally one of the early investors in a company called Super Delhi. Now Super Delhi was a company which used to provide early morning groceries to Bombay and suburbs region, which later became Swiggy Instamart. And
Hmm.
today everybody knows Swiggy Instamart, right?
Yeah,
So
correct.
this fund was one of the early investors in Swiggy Instamart. Another company which was very similar, which was into the groceries and FMCG space, was Shop Kirana. Now,
Okay.
Shop Kirana is one of those places which is democratizing the entire concept of supply chain in the grocery movement. So, while it is going to be very difficult to say what are the segment where it will invest, but I can give you some concept where it has invested and they had got lot of returns for their investors. So there was a there was this company Shop Kirana. No, this Shop Kirana was taken over by InfoEdge when they invested, and the clients got 26 times return, 26x returns in a matter of 5 years.
Wow.
Now you can imagine the kind of returns that you
Well
get
positioned. Yeah,
in, and these are amazing numbers,
correct.
right? There was another company where this company invested was into children's and kids education. They used a lot of games assisted education for children, and these were available at various malls, multiplex, and markets places. Now when COVID came, their business suddenly came under uncertainty, but the founders and the promoters of that businesses they moved to physical mode to a digital mode to a digital mode.
Digital mode. Yeah.
So
Direct to client. Yeah.
because everybody of us went to digital mode, so even the kids went to digital mode. So these are the some of the areas where there is a regular visible participation from consumers, and obviously at the end of the day lot of businesses runs on investors money, and the problem is if the investor stops giving money then the business comes to a standstill. So the fund invest into those kind of business which does not runs on investors money, they run on customers money. That's the difference.
Okay.
That's the
Not
difference
burning
between
cash.
not burning cash,
Yeah.
because the moment you are investing into a company which is run by their investors, then the moment the investor stops, your business stops. But if you are investing into a businesses which is running on customers money,
Correct.
that's where the business would attain sustainability.
Wonderful.
So that's the basic broad framework of the companies where they are investing.
Great, sir. And one concern of some of our investors is that the gestation period of angel fund is slightly on the higher side. So, with your experience, what is the total exit which can be envisaged starting from 5 years to 7 years to 10 years? What will be the total life cycle of the fund if somebody is investing in an angel fund?
Venkat sir, SEBI has a very clear regulations on angel funds.
Yeah,
The total timeline from the time you have started subscription till the time you're closing the fund, the total timeline is 9 years.
9 years.
That's a SEBI regulation. So whatever you do, you have to do within this 9 years. But 9 years is too long a period from the perspective of an investor.
Investor.
So this fund has a very clear focus to complete the entire transaction within 5 years, which means
Oh,
that
okay.
that is why if you see also all the charges, fees, expenses which are being charged to the funds or charged to the investors, they stops after 5 years.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The idea is from the time you put in your money and the time by which the fund closes and you get back your money, the total timeline is 5 years. But again, these are funds which invest into private companies, and a lot of times you can only close your funds when your companies have been sold or you have sold your stake to somebody.
Correct.
So internally they have taken 1 year plus as a cushion, so that
Question.
if
Okay.
I am unable to liquidate or sell off my investments, I have 1 year in period. But as of now, I don't see, because I'm part of the investment committee and I'm also part of the investment advisory also. I
Wonderful.
don't see any extension beyond 5.5 years maximum. So
Okay.
your investors can be rest assured, because this follows an American waterfall system, which means that I don't consider my entire invested investment as a fund level. I consider my investment as an every investee company level. So let's say, for example, when you give me 25 lakhs rupees, let's say I put it into seven companies A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and let us assume that I invested in company A 3 lakhs. Now, typically, what happens when this 3 lakhs becomes, let's say, 8 lakhs, and I want to come out of this, which is almost 2.5 times growth, this 8 lakhs comes back to the investor.
Correct.
It does not go back to the fund.
Yes, yes.
Now,
It,
this can happen in 6 months, this can happen in 1 year, this can happen in 2 years. So, basically, when you see the investment and the distributions coming back to the client, every company typically this kind of distributions refunds start happening after 1.5 to 2 years.
yes, okay.
So, as we keeps investing, maybe from the second year onwards, you will start receiving back your distribution, which is principal and the profit.
Correct.
So so the client will see. So basically, from a client perspective, Venkat sir, this is a 1 to 1.5 years or 2 years of maximum lock-in. But after that, the money will start flowing back to him.
Each
That's how
company,
I
whenever they exit, they will keep giving money, where the final
absolutely
exit might happen in 5 years or 5.5 years.
maximum.
Yeah, correct.
Because from a fund perspective, also you need to understand. Let's say out of 25 lakhs, if I can return back my money within 5 years, I can look for setting up another fund where I can go to these investors and ask for the
Correct.
second level investing.
So repeat
So the
investments.
more I
Yeah.
complete, the more I can keeps running the fund and keeps returning back the capital and recreate a fund and keep the chain continuous.
Yeah. Wonderful, sir. And I wanted to discuss more on the private credit, venture debt, pre-IPO, listed, and so many things. Of course, on the investments option for Gift City, as well as on the newly launched SIF and everything. Keeping the time constraint in mind, I will would like to do one more session with you on those opportunities
My pleasure.
at
Always
your
my pleasure.
leisure. I understand your busy schedule. Maybe I wanted to have those discussions later. And any final message on the startup investment opportunity, which some of my investors and my channel viewers can look forward to.
Okay. So there are 3 points to it. Startup investing is not new. When you started your business, it was a startup
Yeah,
where your client or your investors works. Those were also startups at some point of time. Lot of your investors may be willing to leave their job and want to start up their own. That is also a startup. So
correct.
startup is not a new age concept.
Yes,
So let's remove that thought process from our mind that startups is a different alien where we are trying to explore. Because even if your client is working in a flag, blue chip companies, that was also once a startup. Correct?
correct.
Even
Correct.
Microsoft was a startup, Infosys was a startup, Google was a
Yes,
startup. So startups is not something which is alien to us. Number one. Number two, as the public market becoming more and more transparent and more democratized, the next levels of wealth creation or alpha generation would happen from a private investing space.
correct.
Correct?
Yeah,
A
the
public
information
market
is
is
not. Yeah, all the information is not available. Yeah,
correct. So
yeah,
if you have to invest over a longer period of time, let's say when you want to create wealth over a 20-year period of time, you can take a route to public investment. But that's a long set of time because if you see the public investment returns are between 15, 16, 17 to 20% range. But a large portions of your asset should also be invested into private investing, also into startups, which can be an accelerator to your overall journey, right? When you go to eat, lot of times you have the staple which is rice, dal, sabji is your main food, but you also have some exotic food also that that adds spice to your entire thing, provided you choose the right spice. So choosing the angel funds is like accelerating your wealth creations opportunity, and that's where I think lot of clients would be interested to invest into this kind of startups. And finally, let me assure you, startups are as safe as a public listed company.
correct.
So please come out of this thought that startups means risky. It is not risky.
It's highly regulated, and the amount of disclosures in category is even more larger
Absolutely.
compared to the public markets,
See,
especially in the semi-regulated
whenever
category.
I whenever I talk to investors before we conclude this, whenever we talk to investors, I always tell the investor to look for 4 parameters. The first parameters is the regulations. Is the product which you're investing is semi-regulated or not?
Correct.
Correct. The second factor that I see is the taxation part. What is the taxation involved within this particular product? Is my income generated is an investment income or a business income or a trading income? The third is the risk associated with this fund. How far my capital drop? What is the risk that is associated? So that's the third parameter. And fourth parameter comes the final objective, which is the return. So it's the regulations, it is tax, it is risk, and then comes the return. If all these parameters are being checked, then I should be absolutely clear that this is a great product to invest. And this fund, which I'm talking about, which is Beat Invest Next Gen Fund, has all these parameters checklist option activate. So it is SEBI regulated. It has a tax efficiency under the SEBI regulations. The risk is very well managed. It has got a persistent framework and perfect framework. And obviously the returns has been phenomenal over the last 10 years. So the average IRR that it has generated over the last 10 years is to the tune of 34%. So it basically takes care of all the 4 parameters that I check as an investor when I invest my money.
Okay. Excellent, Romesh bhai. And it's always a pleasure listening to you and getting a lot of insights about this. And I would invite you once again for further investments in alternate investments, PMS, gift city oriented investments, and also the to touch upon on the SIF. So look forward to
Thank you
have you
so much.
once again
In
at
fact,
your
I would love to have a discussions on Gift City because you begin in Chennai. There are a lot of investors, who are from Chennai and the that part of the country to the Middle East and to enter world. So globally, you will see people. So Gift City for your investors would be a great learnings and session. So I would love to do that because there are a lot of opportunity which is getting built in the Gift City space.
Correct. So, thank you very much, sir. Thanks for your
Much.
valuable time and
Pleasure
great.
is pleasure is equally mine, Venkat sir. I always feel excited to be part of your show. Thank you so much.